it up for any. But at POGO, we always start our presentations with a land acknowledgement. So to begin, we would like to acknowledge that POGO's work takes place on traditional territories and treaty lands of many Indigenous nations across the land now called Ontario. Today, we reflect on the relationship that Indigenous peoples and their ancestors have had with this land for thousands of years, and on the harmful impacts of colonialism on Indigenous peoples, including inequities in healthcare that continue to exist. We gratefully acknowledge the opportunity to collaborate on these traditional lands to achieve the best childhood cancer system for children and families in Ontario. We affirm POGO's ongoing commitment to building trusting relationships with First Nations, Inuit, Métis, and urban Indigenous peoples as we carry out our mission. So I know a lot of you have probably heard of POGO through our family assistance program, but I just want to do a quick overview of what we do. So POGO stands for the Pediatric Oncology Group of Ontario, and you can see our mission and our vision there. We're a nonprofit organization with charitable status. We champion childhood cancer care, and as the collective voice of this community, we're the official advisor to Ontario's Ministry of Health on children's cancer control and treatment. We contribute to patient care with interlinked nurses, satellite clinics, and the family assistance program. We have survivor care with aftercare clinics, my program, the school and work transition program, and survivor education events. We provide professional education with our annual symposium, aftercare day, and satellite education day. We also fund, support, and provide data for research. We collaborate to create clinical practice guidelines to make sure that everyone is getting the best care possible. And we also chair advisory committees on things like oncology nursing, psychosocial services, and palliative care. So lots of good things happening at POGO. So the School and Work Transitions Program. So our goal in this program is to help our clients make a smoother transition from either secondary school or from being off school or work to further education or employment. And what makes us specialized is that we have knowledge of the cancer experience and possible late effects of the cancer or its treatment. We know about medical, social, emotional, or cognitive factors that might affect goals and influence decisions. And we also know what assistance is available to support student success and employee success. And our follow-up and ongoing support make sure that clients get what they need to stay on track towards their goal. So we don't just give information and then step away. We continue to provide ongoing support as needed. So our program is open to all qualified Ontario and Western Quebec survivors who were treated in Ontario. They have to be 16 years of age or older, diagnosed before they're 18, and part of an aftercare program. And we don't have an age cap, but most of our clients are youth and young adults. And the difficulties being experienced at school and work have to be related to the survivor's disease or their treatment. Most commonly, we're working with survivors who have learning or cognitive challenges or a physical impairment, but more and more we're seeing mental health issues be the cause of the challenges. And if survivors don't meet those criteria, we can still do a 1 or 2 time consult, which happens most often about scholarships. So we have 6 POGO transitions counselors across the province, and we cover hospitals in Ottawa, Kingston, Toronto, Hamilton, and London. So between us, we cover the whole province. And service is offered in French and English. We're not all bilingual, but we have one bilingual counselor who works with French speakers if they prefer. So we provide help with post-secondary program selection and applications, whether that's college or university or apprenticeship. We provide guidance around how to get accommodations, either at school or at work. We help with scholarship and OSAP, both with giving information and also help with the applications. We advocate for our clients, but we also work with them on self-advocacy. Right now, we're about to pilot test a new post-secondary transition document. And the part of it that I'm most excited about is that we are going to work with survivors so that they understand and can talk about their accommodations. We find so often they don't really know what those accommodations are about. And so as they go off to post-secondary, it's really important. So that's part of what we do for self-advocacy. When needed, we meet with school staff or employers. We help survivors identify appropriate career options and goals. And we do job or volunteer placement preparation, including resume and or cover letter development, job search skills, interview preparation. So I thought I would give you a few examples just so you could get a sense of what we do day to day. So for school, a client that I'm working with was really struggling in high school, and I connected with someone at the school who said, "Oh, we know he had cancer a long time ago, but that can't be an issue anymore. We're not sure what the problem is." So I was able to provide them some education, to share the neuropsychological assessment with them and help that student get the accommodations he needed to be successful. Another client was in nursing school, and she was at the point where she needed to do her clinical placement. She had osteosarcoma, and so she had limited mobility in one of her legs. And the message the college was giving her was, "You can't do a placement. Maybe you should drop out of the program," which of course made me very angry. And we did some advocacy for her to change their minds on that one. And we do things that like doing applications for college or for OSAP with survivors, which for some people is not a big deal, but for other people that could be the difference between going to post-secondary and not, just having someone help them with the paperwork part of it. Some work examples: at a client who kept getting fired because she couldn't work fast enough or keep up with the pace. And so I connected she lived in a smaller city, so I connected her with an employment program for people with disabilities in her community so that she could find a job that worked for her. I have another client who gets very anxious around job interviews to the point where she can't remember them. If she had an interview, I would say, "What questions did they ask?" And she couldn't remember because she was so stressed out. So we've done a lot of practicing of questions and role modeling and things like that. Not role modeling, role playing, things like that. And just the other day, I was talking to a survivor who really wants to work in a restaurant kitchen. And so I respect that goal, and I don't want to discourage him from that goal, but we do have to keep the challenges in mind that a kitchen work is very stressful and loud, and fast paced. And how could we figure out a way that he could work in a kitchen while keeping in mind the fact that that kind of environment might be very challenging for him? So as you can tell from those examples, but what we offer depends on each client's unique needs. Uh, POGO transition services do not include finding a job. We support the search, but we don't actually find jobs for people. We don't go to interviews with clients. We don't do tutoring or write academic accommodation letters. And community services like housing or healthcare, we leave to other disciplines like social work or nursing. Another part of our program is the Survivor to Survivor Network. And this is a year-long volunteer opportunity for 16 and over survivors. And it's a series of presentations on different topics that are created and delivered by survivors for survivors. And so through doing this, the presenters build workplace and personal skills. We also share knowledge with the survivor community, but what the feedback for us has been is that the most important part is for presenters and attendees is the sense of community and that they're not alone and that other people are sharing the same kinds of issues with them. So it's a really great program. We are just getting this year's topics established, but it looks like it will be, we have 4 different presenters, and the topics will be wellness for survivors, what it means to be a survivor and what that means as an identity, trauma and survivorship, and independent living. So this is our contact information. I've noted here that there is an email list just for the transitions program. We do 2 newsletters a year, and we also share information about the S2S program. We don't send a lot of emails, so if you're interested, I can send the link to Sarai and you can sign up. It's on our website, but it's a little bit buried. So I'm happy to send the link if anyone wants to sign up to. The newsletters tend to be, if I do say so myself, but good. And we always involve survivors in writing the pieces, or we're interviewing survivors. So, and that is my email if anyone wants to get in touch with me. If I work with survivors in Toronto specifically, but if you need to be connected with a counselor in another city, I'm happy to connect you. You can go through me to do that. So I'm just going to talk for a few minutes about scholarships. before I do, I have this, which is something that we give out to people in clinic. It's a handout that talks about different scholarships. So I'm going to send a copy of that to Sarai, and she's going to send it out to all of you. So don't worry about having to write things down. So there are three major scholarships that we talk about the most. The first one is Childhood Cancer Canada, which is about $1,500. And it is, there's no qualification other than you've had childhood cancer. So most years, everybody who applies gets it. So that is the first one I would say to apply for. There is a Brain Tumor Education Award specifically for survivors of brain tumors. And there's the Emmy Duff Scholarship, which is for survivors who have a lot of volunteer hours or community service. And that is $2,000. And then there are other ones that are regional. Like there's one specifically in London, there's one specifically at McMaster, some from Northern Ontario. We have one specifically for students at George Brown College. So as I said, I will send that information along so you can get all the details. Someone had asked a question specifically about scholarships at colleges versus university. These are for both, but each school will have its own scholarships, and they're not all based on academics. Some of them are more based on your life experience. So as soon as your child decides where they're going to go onto that school's website, college or university, and look up all of their scholarships. A lot of schools now are doing kind of a portal where you register and you put in certain information, and then they automatically put your information in for whatever you're eligible for. But anyway, very worthwhile having a look at the school's website. And I think that was all I was going to say about scholarships. I did want to say too that a couple of people had asked about resources at college or university for people who have IEPs. Absolutely, you can get accommodations that are listed in IEPs. In fact, it's often easier to get them at post-secondary than it is in high school. So when the student decides where they're going to go and accepts in June, they should get in touch with the accessibility services. It's usually called something like Accessibility Services Office. Don't wait till September because it will be very busy and they'll have to wait. But if you contact them in June or in the summer, you will be assigned a counselor. You'll have a meeting with them. You'll need to show them some kind of documentation about why the student needs those accommodations, and they will help you set them up. They can also connect you with a learning strategist or assistive technology support. And one thing to note is they don't want to talk to you. They want to talk to the student. Some of them, in fact, refuse to talk to parents unless it's an extreme example. So when I was talking about teaching students how to talk about their own accommodations, that's what part of why it's really important. Yeah, so I guess that's all I have to say about the program for now. We'll see if there's any questions for me.
Anyone has any questions, feel free to just talk now or type them in the chat. In the meantime, Helen, there was a question here about what are the resources from the program to help find employment? You said you don't find employment for survivors, but you help with it. How does that work?
For sure. So I would say if you're looking for those resources, you can get in touch with me and I can connect you. If I'm not the right counselor, I can connect you with whoever the right counselor is. So we can find out a little bit more about the situation, and then we can make some recommendations and make some connections for you.
Georgina, you have a question?
I do. So basically my son is 15, will be 16 in September. He has ALL. We're now in the maintenance phase, but he did take a whole year off for the high dose chemo last year. So that would have been his grade 9 year. And technically he's supposed to be in grade 10, but he missed all his courses and all that kind of stuff. So my question is, how do we get him caught up? Is there an easier way to get him caught up to graduate with his peers? Or is he to expect that, he's going to be taking 4, 5, 6 years to graduate high school? Or do you see most kids that with especially teenagers get a GED, that kind of stuff? Is that the best way or best route for him?
So most often I'd say students do night school or summer school. They do extra courses to kind of fill in to catch
Mhm.
up
Okay.
or take an extra semester. Many of the students that I work with take an extra year of high school.
Okay.
Um,
Now he is on an IEP as well, so they do allow for some kind of accommodations right now with the school that he's in. He's taking some online courses, and because it's a term school, they're allowing him to do some term courses at the school.
Right.
So you sort of combine, but you usually they do catch up, I guess, then through summer
it depends
and,
on the student.
okay.
And how hard they're able to work, like how much they're able to take on. There
Okay.
are online programs, private ones that you can do as well. And are you doing it through the board, the online courses, or
It's called IPL or
ILC?
ILC, yeah. So I guess that's board certified, and some through OVS, Ontario Virtual School. So I guess that again is
Great.
and then they send in the marks. But I guess I have a follow-up question as well. Sorry. Is there anything in the works in terms of allowing, especially kids with childhood cancers, and especially that of high school, because I think probably elementary doesn't really matter, but the high school kids, to allow them to graduate with compulsory courses rather than that of electives as well, like sort of limit the amount of credits that they need to actually get their high school diploma. Because technically, I mean, electives are, they're pretty much to each his own. I have a nephew who's taking hockey as an elective kind of thing.
Right.
So, right. So compulsory, yes, I understand math, English, sciences, all that kind of stuff. So is there something that?
I haven't heard that. And
Okay.
if they're planning to go to post-secondary, so for university, they're going to need to have 6 grade 12s to be considered for university. So that doesn't, with it being 4 years, that doesn't, there's nowhere you can cut really,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
You can, so I actually checked in with our interlink nurse about this, and I didn't know this, but at Campfire Circle, they can do a leadership credit. So it's a high school credit, but they're working at Campfire Circle for 16 to 18-year-olds, 18-year-olds. So would be a nicer way to get an extra credit in there too.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Mom, you had mentioned a learning strategist. What is a learning strategist?
So it's someone at the accessibility services who can work with students literally to help them teach them how to study, which I think most students actually could. I don't think they really teach that in schools anymore, but they work with them specifically according to what their needs are. And they can help teach them how to study and strategies for time management and things like that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was muted, sorry.
Okay.
I was just speaking and I was muted. There's a question from Kim. She wants to know, do you know what scholarship it is that George Brown offers?
Yeah, so it's specifically a scholarship for clients of the School and Work Transitions program. And because it's sponsored by Xerox, and because we don't have necessarily a lot of clients at George Brown at one time, it's kind of a slam dunk. So to get that one, you would go through me. I would help you with the application process. They do specify it's for someone with financial need. So if you're far from needing financial need, then it wouldn't be an option. But if you're close to it, I can help you figure that out.
Okay.
So they do need to be a client in our program. But I'm happy to enroll someone in our program just for that scholarship because I think it's worth it.
Great, thank you. Jen is asking, can you help them with volunteer hours?
Yes, we have a couple of good resources where we can help connect them with places that hire or are looking specifically for volunteers from high school who are getting their 40 hours.
Great. Georgina, you had a question again?
Sorry, I just sent it in the group. How does one not basically enroll in the program? Because this is the first I've ever heard of it.
Yeah, you just need to connect with a counselor.
Okay.
And the counselor will chat with you to see like what the situation is, what the needs are, to see if the child qualifies. And if they do, it's just a simple consent registration form. And if not, we can do, we can have a couple of conversations as a consult.
And that's going through POGO?
So you can, sir, I can share my email address if you didn't catch it.
Oh, I didn't know. I did. I
Okay, yeah.
screenshot it, so I could I'll send you a
Okay,
direct
yeah.
email.
So you
and
can
then
send me an email, and then if you're not in Toronto, I can just forward your
No.
information to the correct counselor.
We're in the GTA, so
Okay,
surrounding area. Yeah, perfect. Oh, right. Thank you.
We just got funding to hire a second Toronto counselor. So now I will mostly be Sick Kids and she will mostly be Princess Margaret, which is great.
Great. So Uni has a question. She's asking about help for children who want to go to school out of the province. Do you help with that too?
What kind of help? Like in the application? We do, yes, we would do all the same support in applications. I'm not as knowledgeable as about the schools outside of the province, but absolutely I can help with that, yeah.
Thanks. There were just some comments here, like Kim said, Jack, our son, did the credit at Campfire Circle this past summer and it was great.
Oh, good, okay.
Good feedback. Gina says, I'm happy you can help with the applications. And Gina, you have a question?
I do. I had a question. I've heard some different things. So my son, he has an IEP right now in high school. And I've heard that there are some schools through the application process who take that and the different struggles that they've had into account. So if their grades aren't as high, there's different forms that can be filled out as well. Have you dealt with that before,
Yes.
Helen? Because I'm
Yes.
very curious about that and how
They're
that
usually
works.
called special circumstances forms or something along those lines. So you apply for a university or college the regular way, and then these are additional application forms. So you can find them online. And yes, it's kind of, say their cutoff is 75 and the student has a 73 average. If they have a supplemental application for special consideration, they will kind of give them those extra 2%. But it's not if the student has like a 65 and they want 75.
Right. So,
Right? So you
close.
have to be kind of close, but
Okay.
yes, and schools do take that into consideration for sure.
Okay, and then it's school by school. I'm guessing that we would look
Yes.
for that opportunity.
Yes, it is school by school.
Okay, well, we will be in touch next year, Helen.
For sure.
That's awesome. Thank you.
There's a question, Helen, from Mary. She wants to know, is there a time limit to apply for specific scholarships? My daughter will be attending university in September, but waiting to hear from McMaster and likely won't hear until May.
Yes, so you can't, so all of the ones I talked about are open now. They're all open until end of April, end of May. So you can apply now, and then once you get your official acceptance, you just send that in later to confirm. And I should say, if anyone wants help with the scholarship applications, you do have to write a personal statement, and it's slightly different for each one. I'm always happy to edit those or give some guidance around what they should say.
Great, thank you. There was a question that I had received in advance from a parent. She was wondering about communicating about life-threatening conditions to university housing. She says she's had no luck with, I guess, having them listen to her maybe, but do you know about that? Communicating about your child's condition to the university housing, you said through the accessibility office maybe? Or?
So usually if you have a letter from a doctor explaining what the condition is, that's all you need. So I'm surprised to hear that they had an issue. But I would encourage them to get in touch and we can talk about it more and see if I can help.
Okay. I got a question here from Carrie. My son is taking a gap year, but wondering if he can still utilize these services and get help from OPAC when he does decide to go to college, or from POGO.
For sure.
Yeah, gap year.
So we are, as I said, we don't have an age limit. So we will give service to any childhood cancer survivor over the age of 16 at any point. So it has happened that we've helped with school and then they've come back to us after they've graduated school and we help with finding employment. So yes, for sure.
Excellent, thank you. Kim wants to know, what is the Brain Tumor Education Award?
So it's It's sponsored by the Brain Tumor Foundation, and I believe it's $5,000. It's similar to other applications, but I think it's more focused on financial need, but you do write a personal statement. Yeah, I think I'm trying to think if there's any more details that can be helpful, but it's harder to get than the Childhood Cancer Canada one. There's fewer of them. It should be on their website, yes. But if not, it's the link to it will be on this form that I'm going to send.
Yudi wanted to know up to what age survivors do you assist? I think you said there was no upper age limit.
Right, yeah. So most of who we're working with are between like 16 and 25, but we have some survivors who are in their 40s. So it's
Okay.
any age over 16, yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. All right, any other questions? Just feel free to turn on your camera or type them in the chat. I did want to mention OPAC has a web page for scholarships where I put all the scholarships that we learn about. It's opac.org/scholarships, and a lot of these are on there, but Helen, I'll put up any others from that resource sheet you send as well. So they're all on there.
For sure.
Katie, question?
Yeah, I've got a question. Just to go back to something that you said at the very beginning. You said that they have to be part of an aftercare program. My son, I don't believe he'll be starting aftercare until he's 19, and he will already be in his first year of university. So does that mean that he can only access the 1 or 2 time consultations in
Technically,
preparation?
yes.
Okay.
We are right now expanding the program. So we've just had a pilot of providing the service to on-treatment patients at Sick Kids, and your sons, they're kind of next on our list of people to expand the service to. But I mean, if he needs help, I'm here to help him. So I'm, not that fussy about sticking to the guidelines, to be honest. If he falls in the middle somewhere, we'll for sure help him. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Tim is asking, do you know if CNIB has any scholarships?
They do. I don't know the details off the top of my head, but I know that they do. And I believe they also have a program specifically to help visually impaired people transition to post-secondary. So yes, definitely worth checking out CNIB.
Right.
We have on here, there is a website called, I think it's Disability Awards, and disabilityawards.ca. And it's a general, you can go onto it and it lists different disabilities, and you can click on them, and it has different scholarships specific to those disabilities listed on it. So it's a good one.
And you said, Helen, you're going to send me that. I will email that scholarship resource sheet to everyone who registered tomorrow.
Great.
So I'll put it up on our website as well, so you can refer to it again. Any questions? Any more questions, comments? I don't see any more.
Okay.
Oh, sorry, from Michelle. What was that disability link? The one you,
Disability Awards, one word, .ca.
disabilityawards.ca.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
And if you think of a question tomorrow, don't hesitate to reach out. The more people who know about us, I hate when I hear of someone who's 25 and says, "Oh, I never knew about your service. I could have used you." So please reach out.
Yes. I'm really glad you're there. It sounds like such a valuable program, and it is, for survivors to help with such important life, aspects like school and work, right? So, Kim said Jack has emailed you but hasn't heard back. Jack is Kim's son. Jack
Oh,
Conway.
yes, I have emailed him. I have a feeling our emails are not getting to each other. Maybe can he email me his number and I'll text him instead?
That's a better idea.
Hi.
Oh, there you are.
Yeah, we will do
We
that.
met in
Thank you.
clinic, right?
Hello.
Yes.
We did, yes. Okay,
Yes,
so
I
he said
remember.
he emailed you and didn't hear back, and so he wasn't sure if he wasn't getting your emails
Or if you were getting his.
or if you were getting his, yeah.
I got one a little while ago about your your dog, and I did reply to that. Did you get that
Yes,
reply?
I got that one.
Okay, that's the last one I sent, but texting, I'm totally open to texting too. So you
Okay.
can send me your number and we can text instead.
Okay, I'll email
Okay,
that.
do you have your number that we can put in his phone now?
Yep, it's 416
Yeah,
475
yeah,
2065.
2065. Is that better than emailing?
Probably.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
I text with many clients who are
Okay,
teenagers and
perfect.
who think email is for old people. So yeah, no problem.
And it's, yeah, that's, all
And snail mails for older people.
Exactly, exactly. So yeah.
right, perfect,
Emails for
thank
old
you.
people.
Any
Is
more?
Karen, are you the Karen who connected me with OPEC?
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, okay, thanks so much for that.
Yeah,
Thank
no
you, Karen.
problem. Yeah, no worries. It was so great to meet you in person, and I'm really happy that you're here, and we can talk about the service to all of our OPAC families.
Yes, yeah, it's great to connect. Thank you.
All right, any more questions? Last chance? Before we go, I just want to mention, so check out pogo.ca for all their wonderful programs and resources, and OPAC as well for our programs. And we do have a section on education and scholarships on our website. And we have our weekly sessions with our parent liaisons like this through Zoom on Tuesday evenings at 7:30 with Michelle and Susan and Karen. And they can help answer any questions, direct you to resources that you have as a child cancer parent. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Helen, so much for this. Everybody say that what a wonderful session, very informative. Thank you very much. And again, if you have any questions, we'll send Helen's contact info again tomorrow, and all the handouts and resources she has for scholarships, etc. Yeah, thank you for joining us, everyone. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.